Welcome to Music Matters Podcast with Darrell Craig Harris, talking about all things music with celebrities, artists, music business insiders, and more.
Talia Keys, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
I love your room there.
Thank you. It's all my collection through the years. And this is also my music studio. So
awesome. Yeah, I have my photo / music studio looks very similar.
Awesome.
Lots of stuff. So you're very busy. You've got a lot going on today. You have album coming out, I think May 30th, you mentioned.
Yes.
And you've got vinyl, you've got singles happening. So tell me about you. How did you get started in music?
Yeah, I started playing drums at the age of 9 and played piano, learned guitar in high school, and started performing in high school, actually, and just got bit by the bug, as they say. I grew up listening to incredible music thanks to my mom and fell in love with Elvis Presley and was a little 9-year-old Elvis impersonator and just really loved the energy of being on a stage, singing to an audience, connecting with humans through music, and the rest is history, you know?
Awesome. Did you have a musical family?
I did, yeah. My great-grandfather played a guitar and used to host barn dances and parties in Webo, Montana. And his daughter, my great-aunt Florence, she was a multi-instrumentalist like me, and she had her own band in Boulder called the Boulder Drinking and Marching Club. And then, it was so cool. And then my mom played piano, so I grew up, with our family piano in the living room and hearing her play, and it just was passed along, down from generation to generation.
Yeah, that's so awesome. It's nice to be immersed in music at such a young age.
Oh, absolutely. it gave me everything. Music was the thing for me as a kid. So it still is.
Yeah, awesome. How did you first get into actually being a songwriter, which is a big jump from just being a musician, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I saw Michael Franti and Spearhead in concert so good. One of my favorites. And this was when I was 18 years old. So 22 years ago, I saw Michael Franti. I saw what he was doing on that stage with using his platform to speak about things he cared about, but also making people just grin and dance and forget about life at the same time. And I was just like, I want to do that right there. And Bob Marley was already a hero of mine. The Beatles, like I said, Elvis, Aretha Franklin and Janis Joplin. So for me, it was just this natural thing. Well, I want to try writing a song. And I did. I wrote my very first song called The Election. And of course, it was a little bit politically tinged, a little funky number. And from then on out, I've just really connected with expressing myself through songwriting.
Yeah. And you've also, I was reading your bio that you've dealt with, a pretty challenging health situation since you were 10 years old, and which is, I guess, type 1 diabetes, which is a big thing, can be a big thing. How has that played a role in your music career? And how has that affected obviously a big thing in life, but how has it affected you overall with music and how you approach things?
Yeah. So for me, there's the obvious of my health, my body. Is my voice feeling okay? Is my blood sugars okay to be on stage? So there's always that factor leading into a show. But for me as a human, it's given me this resilience and this drive and the ability to really be thankful that I'm alive, that I'm even here and physically able to do the things that I do. And I've just learned to not take it for granted because, when you're little, I got the diabetes at the age of 10, and you are faced with mortality at such a young age. And I just really think it makes me appreciate the small things, the beautiful things, and the moments when I'm on stage, which is my happy place.
Yeah, I think definitely. And it's important anyways, just to value every moment because nothing's guaranteed, right, in this life, which I've learned that I've learned that for myself. And also too, another thing is everybody has something in their life. So you got to figure out how you're going to deal with it and overcome. And you've made a really positive, have a positive outlook, which is awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the first single we're releasing is actually about that journey. It's called Matchstick, and I wrote it for my friend Sarah Johnson, who is a disabled rights activist, and she fought here in Salt Lake City, and beyond. She fought nationally, and made some major changes for it was Disabled Rights Action Committee and things like that. And so when she passed away, unfortunately, a couple years ago, I took her whole concept. She had this matchstick theory for disabled folks like us, where you have your matches and you burn them. And sometimes once they're burnt, you don't have any more matches to give, right? But burning those matches lit the way. It made you feel better. You danced and enjoyed the night with your friends. You burned bright. So sometimes it's worth it. But she just was the one who finally got me to admit, hey, I am disabled. I deal with complications from diabetes, and this is my life. And so that first single is near and dear to my heart because of that whole experience.
Yeah. And what's your talking about inspiration and that kind of thing? Who were some of your inspirations as a young, musician and artist? Like, who were some of the singers, songwriters that you really looked up to?
Yeah. So once again, of course, the Elvis Presley, I found Bob Marley, I found the Beatles, I found, Michael Franti and Spearhead. Right. And then getting into wanting to know more female, women in music. And so Aretha Franklin is just huge inspiration for me vocally. Janis Joplin as well. I love what she brings to the table. And then as a guitar player, it came a little bit later, but I found Sister Rosetta, and I got a poster of her right here on my wall, and she's just one of my heroes. So yeah.
For people that are not familiar with her, and there's actually video clips up and a lot of people post them, but she was one of the originators of rock and roll. She didn't get the credit. She's getting more now, but she's not only a great rocker, but such a great guitar player as well, right?
So good. And her singing too, and her stage presence. Like, she just commanded the stage just doing what she does. And I definitely inspired by that. And then, through that, I found like Brittany Howard and Alabama Shakes. And she's another one that just blows my mind. Amazing songwriting, guitar playing, singing. And, so my tastes have continued to evolve. My most recent obsession is Beyonce. Like, I got to see Beyonce perform the Renaissance tour 2 years ago, and it was life-changing for me. So yeah, I just like to consider myself a little sponge, and I like to soak up all the goodness around me.
Yeah, and that's great. And those are all, wonderful influences, of course. Yeah. And Beyonce, she gets a little grief on the country music thing these days, I guess. But you know what? You can't deny the talent. It's amazing.
You can't. Exactly. And I'm actually releasing my first country single too. And a lot of people might be like, what? She's not country. But my family is. My family are farmers. They were immigrants that moved to Montana, and they had farms. And, so I came from country music. And I think a lot of times we forget, well, yeah, she might be in this funk realm right now, but my family music roots are country. So
my dad was a redneck from Arkansas. So
there you go.
I heard the Tammy Wynette, the Johnny Cash, all that. But
yes.
When you hear that music, you hear actually, and then you listen to rock and roll, you hear all the influences.
So many influences, so many cross references. And,
exactly.
I love Johnny Cash. I grew up with Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, and Loretta Lynn. I named my cat after her. she's one of my favorite country singers. So yeah. It's
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite, music, movies. Cole Rogers' Daughter.
Yes, great.
So tell me, so when you're writing, are you writing alone? Do you work with other people? How's that process for you?
Yeah, so generally it's in this room. I just get it. I'll be messing around on the guitar or my piano, and I'll come up with a riff, and then whatever's on my mind and my heart is what I end up writing about. I don't I want to write a love song today. No, it's gotta be like, hey, this happened to me and I have to express myself through this emotion of songwriting. And what I'll do is write melodies, I'll write the chords, I'll write the lyrics, and then I bring them to my band, and we end up collaborating that way, where they bring their flavors and talents to their instrument, and they play on the songs, and it becomes a whole new thing, which is my favorite thing in the world, really.
Yeah, and it's always nice to bounce ideas off of people, especially people that you trust, that you've been around for a long time, right?
Yep. But I like writing by myself. I've tried some co-writes here and there. I'm sure one day I will find one that's just fun and awesome. But I tend to be a more introverted person when I'm writing, an extroverted person on stage.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of artists are like that. A lot of artists kind of can be like loners. That's me. I'm sitting at Starbucks in the corner doing my editing and all that kind of stuff. So with this new album and new singles, you also, like it's the album, you have, chose to have a vinyl option, which is becoming more and more common. Tell me why you did that and what's involved. Cause I know there's a different like mix down process and that kind of thing. Tell me how that works for an artist.
Totally. So I am working with an incredible new label called Midtopia. They're based out of Wichita, Kansas, and they're actually the ones who are spearheading this new movement. And it's actually called Buy Before You Stream. And so what they're doing is they're giving their artists a micro loan at a 0% interest rate to print out vinyl, which if you know, that is a costly thing for us artists to foot the bill. And many of us just can't do it, right? And so Midtopia comes in, they invest in us artists, they print out the vinyl, and now I have physical 45s.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
And I can sell this on it's for sale right now on my website a month to a month and a half before it hits streaming. And why this is so crucial and so important is it gets people who purchase music, who are fans of us, it gives them a tangible piece of art that they get to say, you know what? I put money in Talia Keys' pocket. I believe in what she and her band and her engineer at that studio do, and I want to see them continue to do it. And we're reclaiming music again, because streaming, unfortunately, is just highly devalues the art form of recorded music. And and it takes one person buying this 45 is worth 3,000 to 5,000 streams online. So I want people to remember you have the power to be the change in the music industry.
Yeah. And people especially when you do live shows, first of all, they want to help you out. They want to support you. So that's a great way if they buy your single, buy your album and vinyl. Is great. People love the tactile thing of having that in their hands. And then the other thing is it's something for people that you can sign and helps you interact, right? So there's so much upside to that.
So much upside. And the artwork that goes into the label, into the everything, it's humans who design it. I don't ever use AI anything. My stuff is all organic, I like to say. And it's just, you were talking about like the process of creating vinyl. Yeah, we had to do a mix for digital music. Or a master for digital, and we had to do a master for vinyl. So you take these extra steps. We care. The sound quality is next to like nothing touches it, right? Like
exactly,
vinyl,
yeah.
It's the beautiful. So I'm just really honored because I have printed vinyl in the past. I had to take out a loan to do so. It was really expensive to do it. And I kind of thought afterwards, I'm like, well, one and done. That's that's all I can afford to do. And so Midtopia coming in is saying, hey, we believe in this album so much so we're going to pre-order 45s and a full length 12-inch and you don't have to pay us. Like that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's a very innovative model. And I love that they're doing that because it's it's a win for everybody. It's a win for them and a win for the artist. And a lot of people like you said, they love the idea of vinyl, but you got to figure out how to make it work financially, right?
Well, and it's also a win for the fans, like you said, getting that signed vinyl. People put it up on their walls. They frame it. They keep it. They also pass it along to their kids. Like, I have vinyl that my mom used to own and that someone else used to own, and just that whole act of the giving and the sustainability of it. And then the other cool thing is you're encouraging people to also go to the local record stores. So local record stores will have my vinyl in stock and people could go in there, pick it up. You're not just supporting me and the entire band and all of us. You're supporting that local business too.
Right. So it allows you to do appearances at record stores. That opens that up too. There's a lot of advantage. And I was just in Helsinki and, we went to a vintage audio store with all the high end, with the vinyl and it's just something about that just kind of gets to your soul, you know. Tell me about live shows and touring. What's your situation with that these days?
Yeah, so my band plays locally here in Utah a lot, I would say probably 4 to 5 times a year, play different festivals. We play our own headlining shows. On occasion, we've gotten out to Colorado and Idaho and hope to do more of that. But out of necessity, I started doing a one-woman looping show. So I take my drum machine, my synthesizers, keyboard, my guitar, my vocals, and I do a live looping show, one-woman band, and that's what we've been taking on the road the last 8 years almost. And it's pretty awesome, you know. And as an artist, touring is not cheap. It is one of the most expensive things we're doing, and cost is just going up. So I like to remind people, when you see a show and it's a small independent artist, one t-shirt gets us, you know, gas to the next city. Like one hat and a t-shirt and the vinyl gets us dinner and gas to the next city. And we are totally funded by our fans. And I'm lucky that I get to do that, but also would love to be able to take the band on the road. And we're working towards that this upcoming year.
Yeah, it's a process. Like you said, it has to make sense. You don't want to crash the project if you just can't afford to stay on the road. So it's nice. And it's nice. It gives you flexibility, you know.
Yeah.
And you can always bring the band for certain shows. There's a lot of great options for that.
Exactly.
And I think that model is kind of growing, you know, having both options, especially the single thing touring. It's just, like you said, it's so much easier. And also you want to be able to pay the guys.
Yeah. I want to be able to pay myself.
Guys,
right?
girls, whatever. Yeah.
All
sure.
of us. Yeah. And, you know, it's pretty cool because the solo act actually is what's done the biggest shows. Like I toured with Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real. We did 20 dates, 2 summers ago together. I've toured with a band called Orgone. I've opened up for the Indigo Girls. And awesome. It's nice that the single, they like having a solo act open because I'm not taking up all this space. Quick and easy. But the sound is still very full. You know, I can create a whole band and do some ripping guitar solos on top of my loops. So
yeah, it's worked out pretty good for Ed Sheeran.
Yes, exactly.
Standing at Wembley doing that is like, just absolutely, I know, nuts. So tell me about, your advice for younger artists, people that are just getting started. What were some of the really key things that you've learned?
Yeah. So one thing that I just think got me through, especially getting to know my local community, my local music community, is that I went and supported other bands. And I still would love to see this more from other artists. Go out and see fellow bands' shows. Go and support each other. Go learn from one another and do multi-bill shows, you know, do shows with people who are your friends and even people you don't know, like different genres. I think that really helped me just like get my chops up, you know, see how other people are doing it, also spread my knowledge to other bands. And I just think if you try to build your community like at home, it's easier for you to get out and try to build community everywhere that you go.
It's building a tribe, right?
Exactly. And, you know, the other thing I did was I got heavily involved with our local radio station. So we are one of the awesome communities that we have a community radio station here in Salt Lake called KRCL. And I started volunteering there. I started donating to their radiothons. Next thing you know, they're asking me to be a DJ. You know, so I had my own radio show throughout COVID, which just saved my life, gave me purpose. And then now, you know, I can go back in and DJ, or I can go back in as an artist and play my music. And I just think that it's all about relationships. And you know, I've learned on the road with Lucas Nelson, his family motto, number 1 rule, this is Willie Nelson's rule, is don't be a hole. And
exactly.
And that's the rule. It's like, just be a good person, show up, have integrity, have drive, be polite, be thankful. And that's gotten me really far in this career.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like I've played with all sorts of different people in different situations. I've often been like, I'd be the only white guy in the room of 30 people. It's all good. The thing is, it's all about being respectful and being kind. Yep. And that goes a long way in life in general.
Totally. And life advice.
Yeah, you have to I think you should start a podcast because you have the vibe.
Right on. I actually thought about it. So
yeah,
that's cool.
You should.
I love it.
It's a great space. Tell people how they can, get a hold of you and if they want to order the album and the singles and all that stuff.
The best place is to go to my website. It's taliakeys.com. So my name, TALIAKEYS.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, that's the central hub.
Yep. Everything. We got YouTube videos, we got merchandise, we got tour dates, we've got bios, all that good stuff.
Awesome. So I live in Las Vegas. So when you get out here, if you come out and do a tour, and you should, because there's a lot of great local venues, let me know, and then we'll come and hang out.
Would love that. Yeah, we're actually planning to be out there this fall, so I'll reach out.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I can maybe give you some gig location ideas too. But thank you so much for joining me. I know you're a busy person. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, well, thank you, Darrell. I really appreciate it. And I want to shout out the name of your podcast is Music Matters. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, you get it immediately. And I just really feel a kinship with that. And I think people need to realize music matters. It's part of our everyday lives. It's not just background. It is like the weaving of our souls together. And so thanks for having me. It really is awesome.
Well, yeah, you're very welcome. And that's exactly right. Yeah, that was my thing too. When the whole COVID thing was happening, I'm like, I got to figure out something positive to do. So that was my. But thank you so much. Everybody check out From the Ashes, May 30th. Singles, everything else is on your website, social media. You have very active social media as well, I should say. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. See you again.
Great. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks for joining us, and please consider subscribing to our podcast and follow us on our social media pages for guest announcements.